education they should give up, right? Have some of y'all felt that way? Or you see that happening? Yeah, because I had a college student I was working with recently, and I asked him that question. I said, if you succeed at something, what do you think? And if you fail, and he told me exactly that, but he didn't know it. He said if he succeeds, he thinks he was lucky. And if he fails, he thinks, well, I'm just stupid. And that's what he thinks. And I just can't get it. Okay, more about struggling. They become passive students who shrink from the action, right? They sit in the back row. They don't want to be noticed. And they become inattentive, or they become attentive to anything except what they're supposed to be learning. I mean, because they're so discouraged. I mean, that's true of everybody. And it's true of everybody that you'd rather look bad than look stupid. You'd rather look like, oh, I don't care. I had a second grade student who told me he couldn't read his genius level, and he told me in second grade he could not read or spell or anything. He said, I'd rather milk a goat with my mouth than read. I mean, how gross is that from a second grader? And now he's in the 7th grade, and he is in the 99th percentile of reading, and he has been chosen for the Duke University Talent Identification Program. I mean, awesome, awesome. And so what do successful students do? They use that CEO in their brain on purpose. I mean, instead of becoming discouraged, they're going to set a goal, work toward it in some kind of order, and stick with it. They use positive self-talk. This is something we've got to teach our kids. And I do teach this directly to my kids that I work with. I'll have them, write on because I'll say, well, what do you say to yourself? Do you say to yourself, I'm so smart? And they all look at me like, are you crazy? I'm not saying I'm so smart. And I say, what are you saying? Like, I'm stupid? And they say yes, or that's what they're telling themselves. And I say, you cannot tell yourself that. You just cannot, because your brain is listening, and your brain is going to do it. If you want to tell it that, I say, tell your brain what you want. There's a great book I didn't write here called Predictive Parenting by Shad Helmstetter. And it's a great book. It's written in cartoon form, which is really neat, because it'll show cartoons of using predictive parenting. They're saying you want to talk to your brain and to your kids growing up. This is talk to your brain the way you want it to be. Like, I'm good at reading. And so I'll have kids walk around, with their index card saying, I'm good at reading, I'm good at reading. And at first they want to fight you over it because they say, no, I'm not. And I say, but you've got to convince your brain you are now, present tense. I'm good at reading. Because if you say, I'm going to be good at reading, your brain is just going to say, well, okay, let me know when, and then I'll do it. So you've got to say, I am good at reading. My daughter, who's now just pregnant with my first grandbaby, but when she was in school, she struggled with math so much, and there was a lot of struggle. But she would say, I just can't do math, I can't do math. And so I read this book, and way back then, and told her, I started saying, you tell yourself, I'm good at math, I'm good at math. And again, she fought me at first, because your brain wants to say, well, you're lying to me. But I told her to keep saying it, and she did, this was good. And so one day she was going to have a big math test the next day, and I said, well, Natalie, don't you need to study? And she said, no, I'm good at math. But we do need that to happen. We do need that to happen, that we just directly say, you've got to talk to yourself positive. You've got to tell your brain, and tell them it's normal that everybody talks to themselves in their brain. But you've got to be telling yourself, I'm good at this. I had a child once, and I loved what he did. I was testing him years and years ago, and giving him an IQ test, and he was looking at all these really complicated patterns, and he kept saying to himself out loud, when it got really hard, and he said, nothing is as hard as it seems. Nothing is as hard as it seems. He said that a million times, but I think that's a great thing to say, and he did fantastic, and because it was very complicated looking stuff, but he just kept saying, nothing is as hard as it seems. And I loved that. I thought that was a good sentence. And they got to be persistent, because if they're telling themselves I'm stupid, they're not going to be persistent, because it's like, why? So they've got to say, I can do this. I'm good at this. I can do this. I'm better every day. Now, even Dr. Seuss tells us about executive function. I just found this and loved it. Think about this in terms of this is what we want our kids to think. You have, if you want to read it with me, you can. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what to do. You know, you are the guy who'll decide where to go. Doesn't that seem like that's executive function? You know, we want to tell our kids, you're in the driver's seat. You can do this. You can take control of things you can control. Our kids tend, hey, why don't you come sign in and get your name tag and stuff, and a handout. And we want them to control what they can control. They can control how they can control some certain things we're going to talk about. They can't control. You know how sometimes when kids do bad on a test, they'll come home and say, well, that teacher is just stupid. Isn't that what they usually say? Or I hate that, or that class is awful, everybody did bad. They can't control those things. Or they'll just say, I wasn't lucky. Or they can say, well, I'm just stupid. They can't control those. I want them to do what they can control, which is the strategies. I'm going to show you some strategies using those index cards. Get you 3 yellows. Okay. 3 yellows, and then a green, and then one of any other color. Okay. Okay, so here's our first strategy. Woo! This is, okay, this PAL strategy. Now, picture, I mean, you've learned a lot of strategies, and as teachers, you've done strategies, and I've done strategies, but I never thought about them so much about executive function. Jeannie, I don't know about you or other teachers. I just never gave executive function that much thought until now. These strategies are executive function. There's something you're doing on purpose to get it. Okay. And what I'm going to do here, okay, I've got a slide here. But I can't do it from there. I've got to do it from here. Okay, I want you, okay, on this PAL, the PAL, that's a strategy. The P stands for pick your ideas, and then the O is, and did I write that on there? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, good. The O is organize your ideas or something, and then W is write about your ideas, write and write more, mm-hmm. Or something. Write and say more. Yeah. So we're going to pick our ideas. What if we were writing a paper? How many people love to write a paper? Or their kids love to write a paper. Yeah. So this is going to be a strategy using our frontal lobes to write a paper, and it's going to be the PAL strategy. So what if we do it about movies? Can y'all just name me maybe one at a time? I've got it. I'm not sure if I'm going to hear everything is all at once, but name me some movies. A favorite movie from now or forever. Name me a movie. Oh, and it's kind of, oh good, Sound of Music, I got it, but I'm going to need it probably louder even. I have a hearing loss, and I have recently gotten bilateral hearing aids, and but I'm still not exactly, I'm good at this, but I've got a ways to go. Okay, now somebody tell me another movie. Beaches? Ah, I'm so illiterate on movies. Okay.
Still not know.
Ah. Okay, another one? Yeah. Is there an E? Maybe another one? Christy? C-H? I-S-T-Y. Okay, what about now? What if we think of it, because we picked our ideas. Say, but it could be your child, it could be pick your ideas, pick your favorite colors. Okay? We're not going to use the index cards for this one, but actually I maybe should have given you more, but I just want you to picture that maybe colors are so good. You know, color coding things are just going to be always good. And I would maybe, if we're picking, let the child pick their ideas, maybe let them write one idea, or you write it for them. They tell you, maybe give me your favorite colors, and you just write them, or their favorite animals. And you're going to, on one index card is going to have one animal, one animal, one animal. You know, so, and then we're going to do something with that. Okay, now, what if you tell me something about Sound of Music? Why did you like it? Something, just in a few words.